All right, welcome everybody. We've been on a little hiatus. We're back with D&D on the Wily Hobbit network of D&D things. I am your host and Dungeon Master. On Earth they call me Scott, but here on the internet they call me Wily Hobbit. Glad to have everybody aboard. Welcome to our game. This is Mysteries in the Dalelands. Hard to believe we're up to 37 episodes. And this is, in fact, episode 37, Lathander's Light. Let's go around and meet our players while they still live. Ronvin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Vivi of the Vesha, and I'm playing Ronvin, who is an Azamar artificer and still learning a lot about herself. And it's great to be back. I know I've been missing in action for a bit, but we'll make up for it.
We're glad you're back. All right, Viz, what's going on?
We are live. Hi, I'm here Wilson on the internets and Dave otherwise. I'm playing Viz, the fairy fighter. Unusual sort. Just joined the party. Likes flying. The good stuff.
All right, Rushar.
Hey everyone, I'm Andrew playing the merchant Rue Shahar, who's not feeling so great at the moment.
Merchant.
Yes.
Merchant. Not feeling so great. Speaking of not feeling so great, last and certainly not least, our newest and almost deceased party member, Fix.
Hi, I'm Preston or Dice Fix on the internet. I'm playing Fix. He's a changeling warlock, and I was about 7 numbers off of being dead last session, so hoping to keep that good.
That was a little touch and go. Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit. How did we come to be in a place where 2 of our characters are in some severe pain? So the party decided to help out. A member of the community had gone missing after venturing down into the dark tunnels that run underneath Dagger Falls. Orthrin, the dwarf, Orthrin Runemaul, took his friend Larissa Heatherdell down into the tunnels so that she might maybe have a little tale to tell some folks who had been picking on her in the bar in the Red Rock Tavern. And so Orthrin thought he'd do her a little favor, take her down into the tunnels, she'd kind of show her a good time, maybe get her spooked a little bit, just kind of little minor adventure. Unfortunately for them, the adventure switched very quickly from minor to major when Orthrin had been, stung, shot, poked, stabbed, and rendered unconscious. And when he awoke, he was looking up at a number of the Dagger Falls militia and the proprietor of the Red Rock Tavern, Miss Kessler. Much to his dismay and everyone's dismay, Larissa Heatherdell was nowhere to be found. And so it was that the party was summoned, or actually more followed the clarion call of the bells and horns in Dagger Falls that are sounded whenever something's amiss. And it was then that they decided to go down into the tunnels, take Orthrin with them, and see if they might locate the young lass. Just a young gal, some 18, 19 seasons. And obviously there was great concern because no one knew where she was. And so they explored the tunnels, very, very dark. And in fact, they ran into one section that was so dark, even magical means could not illuminate it. And they discovered that was the case because of a small stone that it had some sort of dwemer of darkness cast upon it. But the party, as they searched, were set upon by some rather nasty creatures, kind of in a couple of waves. The first wave contained a couple of hobgoblins and these large troll-like fellows that I've found laying around in the Kobold Press Tome of Beasts. Troll reavers, as a matter of fact. Nasty savages. And it was there that the party, Fix, in fact, nearly met his end when he was stricken down, not once but twice, stabbed while down. These things are nasty. But the party did win the day, and did manage to find Larissa in a pit in the basement toward the bottom of one of those chambers in the tunnel. And as they were making their way out, they heard the sounds of more angry, mean, nasty-sounding monsters. And sure enough, another small group of hobgoblins, including a hobgoblin. Oh gosh, what's it called? Well, he's a caster. Let's just put it that way. But a nasty hobgoblin caster. And turns out there was a bit of a skulky, sneaky, dark figure with them. And again, members of the party were nearly ended. In fact, Orthrin Runemaul went down, the dwarf. Thankfully, Ronvin was able to stabilize with a little bit of healing magic. Rue was severely injured. Fizz, interestingly enough, is turning out to sort of be the party tank. The fairy fighter manages to deal a fair amount of damage and evade some stabby stab with their dexterity and so forth. So, at any rate, the party did manage to win the day, but sadly, the hobgoblin managed to cast a lightning bolt and all but end Larissa Heatherdale. It's much to the horror of the party. They saw her fall in combat, even though she wasn't really in combat. She was trying to take cover, but the lightning bolt found her and ended her, and she is sadly deceased, much to the horror and sadness, the soul-crushing tears and crying of Orthrin Runemaul, as he, and rightly so, feels quite responsible for losing the young lass in the tunnels below Dagger Falls. And so the party began to make their way back through the tunnels once the threat was ended. Rather spooky moment. The dark figure appeared and managed to harass the party somewhat, do a little damage, before warning them that they would not be long before they saw them again, and then they disappeared into the darkness. Some dark, hooded, robed, cloaked, wrapped, masked figure seemed quite dexterous, and not terribly welcoming. Exited with a just poof, gone. And so the party, while returning to the surface, was met by a number of the Dagger Falls militia, who quickly whisked them to the vault beneath Lathander's Light. One of the tunnels dead ends into that space, and they took the cadaver of Miss Larissa Heatherdale up to see his Radiance, the High Morn Master, Harndar Orin. And it is there we will start tonight's tale, as the party finds themselves standing still below Dagger Falls in the vault that leads up to the Temple of Lathander, also known locally as Lathander's Light. And so I believe someone might have a torch. I don't know if that's Rue or Fix. You're in the 40 by 30 stone room. Iron portcullis on the north wall is lifted into the ceiling. What would you like to do? The militia have exited through a door in the south wall, pledging to see if they can't do something to aid Larissa Heatherdale.
And don't forget that penny swoops can also light up.
That's right. Your construct little pigeon friend.
You have a pigeon?
Yes. She does 5 feet radius of light.
No.
Yes.
With 5 bright, 5 dim, how it goes.
Yeah, gotcha.
So and all you got to do is do pet.
it's tab activated.
It's like tick, tick.
Sort of like a clapper.
We'll light for boops.
That was funny. Fix would just look around at the group and just, where do we go now? Do we just wait?
Let's go up and make sure that she gets treated.
I don't want to intrude. I don't know anything about healing people.
I do. I want to see what happens. I've never seen this before. This is marvelous.
Do you think we should?
Since Runman is also just at 8. So she's probably gonna walk over to Fitz and just is gonna be like, pop, and he gets 3 HP from
Thank you.
from her hands, and she's like, feel a bit better. Boop.
I feel a little
then-
bit better.
And then instead of doing I can do it, she's just gonna go, I'm gonna be okay too, and she's gonna give herself the other 2. At least we're both up to 10 now.
Well, thank you.
Still have that left over. The healing hands.
Oh.
So that we at least will survive if we're walking out of here. Because
Right, I won't stub my toe and fall over again.
Because I do think that we should, find our way out, because we're pretty hard over here. I mean, I think I got a couple more spells left, but I think I have like 2 cure wounds left, and that's about it.
Right, well, I'm a little tapped in the spell department.
Yeah, it's like there's not much left. Maybe we should follow them out and make sure that she's okay.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. Viz takes off and flies after the guards.
Might also be good to stay with them, in case we do get ambushed again.
Right, it might not be a bad idea. We should probably follow Viz.
Yep. Before he goes missing.
I will follow the others through, and then does the store have a lock or a way to?
Yes, if you there is a lock that they had a key for. It's an iron door, very, very sturdy. When you pass through it, if you close it, you'll see there's like a wheel you can turn that pushes deadbolts in both directions. They're kind of twisted, and then as you untwist it, the deadbolts secure the door.
Cool.
Very cool.
Now, are we
Sure.
relatively sure that we're not locking someone into those tunnels? Like an ally?
Nah, they got keys.
I don't know of anyone who's down here.
They'll be all right.
You do recall you entered the tunnels through the Red Rock Tavern, which is actually outside the walls of the town of Dagger Falls to the northeast. You are now presently under Dagger Falls proper, as Lathander's Light, the temple, is within the walls of Dagger Falls. And if you recall, they mentioned, like Kessler mentioned when she was describing the layout, that one tunnel goes off to the Lord's Keep. Another tunnel goes up and outside the walls to the west of Dagger Falls, kind of behind where the constabulary is, but outside of the walls of the town proper. And there's just, there's no telling where else tunnels may lead.
Well, there is. We just don't have time to chase them all.
You have all the time you need.
Anyway, well, we're following them up. Lock the door, and off we go.
Okay. Yeah, so another tunnel, although this one is lit with sconces and candles that must apparently either burn quite a long time or are replaced frequently. About every 4 feet there are candles on the walls, and so basically you have like one on the left, and then 2 feet down you have one on the right, and then 2 feet down one on the left, that sort of a thing. So it's nicely lit. It's sort of a windy, turny passageway. You easily catch up to the I believe there was 4 of the Dagger Falls constabulary militia members that are very carefully carrying Larissa's body, wrapped as you had wrapped her after she fell. Orthran Runemaul is just inconsolably weeping and fussing about behind the guards. In fact, they've it looks like maybe one of the guards has been sort of assigned to keep the dwarf moving, but away from Larissa, just trying to keep him sort of together and moving. And they wind their way through. You pass the occasional doorway or a side passageway. You come to some steps at last, and this main thoroughfare ends up entering up into the back wall of one of the prayer sanctuaries. And there, a group of you would assume to be priests of the Morning Lord, priests of Lathander. They're all in white and golden embroidered robes. They have some tassels, very clearly some sort of sacred vestments. You'll see hanging from gold chains, very fine looking holy symbols of Lathander, which is basically the sun rising over the horizon with rays bounding out of it, as he is the Morning Lord. And they very quickly assess the situation. Yes, let's get her to the private sanctuary. His Radiance, we'll run ahead and have him meet us there. And so they usher the guards. One priest stays back and kind of puts his hand up. Yes, are you with her?
We more or less, we are the ones who got what remains out of the caves.
I see. Okay, well, we ordinarily don't allow a number of people to accompany the deceased, but if you're all she has, the dwarf seems to be with her. My name is Braille. You may follow me.
Thank you.
He very quietly, calmly leads you through some hallways. You now can see that you are on the ground floor of the temple. You've been through this part of the complex before. There are a few windows. It is dark out, as it was evening time, I believe, when you went below ground. And he leads you to an antechamber with a few tables and chairs. Looks to be sort of a waiting room. There are decanters of water, coffee, beverages, and the like. It appears to be sort of a waiting room, and there is an oak door that is slightly ajar, and you can see very dim light coming out of that room, maybe candles or torches, light that you would assume would be provided by some manner of fire or flame. Please, if you would, just have a seat and wait here, and I will call you when it is time. Does anyone wish to participate in the ritual to hopefully return Miss Larissa to the living? All that would be required would be your faith in the Morning Lord and prayers for her healing and health. You could certainly do so from in here.
I can certainly try.
Very well. Are you a priest by any chance?
No.
Very well. I remember seeing you here before.
I was here once before. We talked to his Radiance about an unrelated matter
Yes.
a few 10 days ago.
Very well. Anyone else care to enter the inner sanctum while the ritual is being performed?
No, thank you. I'll sit out here.
No, thank you.
If Viz can fly in, he will.
Okay, so you're going to try to fly in?
Yep.
He tries to grab you, but with a 7, I'm guessing that's probably not going to roll well against your dex. And so,
probably not.
Viz, I'm assuming you're going to flutter in there. You need to push the carved oaken door ajar somewhat. It's open partially, but even not open enough for your small 2-foot frame to slide in, unless, of course, you do that thing where you make yourself really tiny.
Yes.
Okay, so what size are you
Well,
going to make
it's-
yourself?
It's less a matter of sizing than the description says I can fit through a 1-inch hole. So it'll probably look something like Viz sort of flying along and then elongating through that gap in the door, just
Okay.
and then pops right through.
You see Braille kind of... and he quickly enters, looking rather stressed out. You notice Viz as he's... little one.
I'll find some place up in the ceiling to hide.
Just please do not disturb his radiance. It is the utmost importance that he be given complete silence. So make your prayers to whoever you worship. And he's looking around as he's saying this in silence so that we might be successful. Huh. So when you enter the thing, Viz, you see a large altar up on a dais. And upon it is a white, I guess, a shroud. And you see upon the shroud the body of Larissa. And you see 4 priests of Lathander tending to her. They peel away the wrappings and replace them with a kind of a head-to-toe cowl, so that only her face is visible, and she's wrapped quite snugly. It's a bit of a grisly scene as they unwrap her because of the electrocution. She has some significant burns, scarring, and so forth. Her clothes are, you can still smell the awful charnel smell of burnt skin and hair. Some of her clothes sort of welded to her. And you see as they begin to wrap her, they treat her with what only could be described as great reverence, moving very methodically, very much as if they'd done this a million times, like almost as if they're in a trance. Would you roll perception for me, Viz?
I'm so good at that.
I would have followed in behind Viz and Brea, by the way.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were going in or not.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I'll go in.
Yeah.
It's just sitting on the floor.
Yeah. There are 15, okay. There are benches that line the walls. There are rows of benches, just very plain wooden benches. No backs, not pews. Like 4 rows of those are probably about 12 feet long on either side of a center walkway. You could sit anywhere, or take a bench along the wall. They have a I guess for lack of a better term, it's sort of a stand. It's like a fluted pedestal pillar with a pedestal top with a sensor of some kind of liquid in it, and they appear to be bathing her face and like sponging her once she's been wrapped in the sacred vestments of Lathander. And then they lay across her breast a holy symbol of Lathander and begin lighting candles around this altar. And with your 15 perception, Viz, you hear barely audibly some sort of muttering or chanting in unison, at least 2 different pitched voices. It seems that they're already in prayer, and they are already beginning what you can only assume, Rue and Viz, to be the start of a ritual with the goal of returning her to life. They bathe her once she's been clothed in the white vestment, the cowl, her face and head to toe, so that she's rather damp. One can only assume with holy water of some sort, or some oil perhaps, some chrism, or some sort of oil of anointing. And then they light a candle, one at each corner of the altar, and then the 2 of the priests go behind the altar and light a beautiful golden brazier that begins, it flares up rather much like phosphorus might, crackles and pops a little bit, and in very short order, thanks to the ventilation or some other means, you get this sweet, earthy scent of incense as it swirls about, smoke kind of wafting across the altar and upward into the ceiling. The ceiling itself is, since you're up there, is all timber frame, tongue and groove, with timbers and joists crossing, very, triangular, So you have no trouble locating a place to sit and or hover, whatever your preference may be. The priests then each take a seat, 2 on either end of the altar on small benches that are against the wall. The chamber itself, Rue, that you're sitting in, is probably 40 feet across. It's about a 40 by 40 chamber, but the upper end of it, where the altar is only about 20 feet. And then there's a door in the center, very back of this worship space, and a door on each side. Thanks for the follow, Gaming at 30. Appreciate that very much. Glad to have you. That'll be another +2 for the party. That's 30 of those. There is a beautiful set of tapestries hanging, one on either side of the rear door, and they're this crimson, long hanging on a wooden rod that is hanging from a hook by some string or rope, and the crimson wall hanging, probably 3 feet across, maybe 6 feet high, 7 feet high, is a very, very large, again, crimson bolt of cloth with gold embroidered holy symbol of Lathander, one on each side of the door. The priests begin to sit, and all grows silent, and it is only then that you notice the hunched form of Orthrin Runemaw in one of the front benches, his shoulders heaving as he tries to contain his emotions, yet still finds himself utterly shattered by the loss of his friend.
So Rue had entered and went about halfway in, I would say, and just sat on one of the benches by the aisle. I think at the point that he sees Orthram, I'll get up and go sit on the bench behind Orthram and just put a hand on his back.
Okay. He doesn't move in terms of recognizing that your hand is on him. He's hunched over. He looks shattered. He looks broken. And every now and then he takes that jagged, deep breath that you could tell he's still weeping, although he's doing a pretty good job considering his dwarvenness at keeping it reasonably not loud. He is obviously attempting to hold this moment in great reverence. So the priests sit very quietly, hands clasped, sort of folded upon their bellies in their laps, heads down. They've been hooded and robed this entire time. You haven't really made out any facial features. Again, Viz, with your perception, you can probably hear prayer. Rue, you are certainly free to roll perception if you wish.
That is a 12.
Yeah, you think you might hear some vocalization coming from that 20 by 20 sort of alcove. The back corners are rounded just a little bit, and it's like a whitewashed stone, different from the tunnels below inside the alcove. And the flickering of the candles creates this beautiful, beautiful golden sunrise effect color, if you will, which you find to be quite appropriate given where you are here in the Temple of Lathander. Is there anything else you're doing, Rue or Viz?
Yeah, so Viz is sitting up in the rafters. He's pulled a seed out of a pouch and is working it with Druidcraft throughout this whole process. And I'll let you know what it looks like when this comes to fruition.
Very well.
I think Rue, with his other hand, the one hand on Orphan's back, the other hand he pulls out the clasps from his cape and just has them in his hand, and just sitting quietly.
Okay. So after several minutes of silence, other than the very, very faint sort of chanting, muttering, what you can only assume to be the prayers of the faithful, the door in the back alcove opens silently, and you see brighter torchlight illuminate the alcove, the altar area, and then the door closes as you see the familiar silhouette and visage of the High Mornmaster enter with his head bowed. He does have a very thick hooded robe, but the hood is thrown back so that you can very easily see that it is indeed his radiance, the High Mornmaster Harndar Orin. He has a big wooden carved, beautiful holy symbol to Lathander hanging upon a golden chain on his chest. Very beautifully embroidered gold piping and filigree on the ends of his sleeves on this very thick, beautiful white robe. And when he walks around the altar, he faces the audience, which consists of Rue, Orthrin, and in the rafters Viz, and he bows very slowly and very low without saying a word, and he looks up at Viz and also nods, turns to each side and bows to his fellow celebrants, and then turns his back on the audience to face the altar. And you see Rue embroidered in beautiful gold thread, a huge sunrise landscape on the back of his robes, somewhat covered by the long tip of his hood. And he begins to move his hands out over the body of Larissa Heatherdale, where she lie in her current state of death. And he begins to mutter something rather unintelligible. It's quiet. Once he finishes with the initial prayer, he places both of his hands into the censer of liquid that was used to bathe and douse the corpse of the young lady who is at the center of our attention at this moment. He again brings his hands over absolute silence. And then you hear him in his deep, throaty, almost musical voice. The prayers of the faithful, we call upon you now, those of you who bear witness to the light of the morning Lord and the miracle of life. Please offer your prayers. Prayers of the faithful. Help us raise, help us restore young Larissa Heatherdale to her beautiful life. And he reaches into one pocket deep within his robes, and he goes around behind the altar as he does this. And you see he has something, kind of a ball of something in a very, very, very clean white cloth. And he begins to pull the cloth away very slowly, very intentionally, until the item is revealed in his hand, the cloth laying in this beautiful cloth, and the candlelight from the 4 candles that illuminate this dim chamber catch the facets of this magnificent golf ball sized diamond. Stunning, breathtaking. Rue, you probably feel yourself tingle just a bit when you see its pure beauty. And he takes the diamond and sets it upon her breast, not touching it, just cupping his hand with it in the towel, and he lays it upon her breast and lifts the towel away so that it lays there, and you see almost so much more beautiful. Disco ball really isn't adequate, but it's that sort of effect as the flicker of the candle plays across the facets, and they shoot across and illuminate and sparkle all around the sanctuary. And he places his hand on either side of this diamond and lowers his head and begins to sing or chant or some such. Some very low musical voice. Anyone praying?
Rue would be praying in his head.
To a monitor?
No, he's actually going to pray to Lathander.
Okay. Viz, what you got going on up in the rafters there, my friend?
Vince is fascinated because this is the first time he's ever seen something like this. And death is a weird concept for him. So he's up there being quiet as told. His mind is racing a mile a minute. His hands working this tiny seed that is rapidly expanding out from a seedling to something more. And although he's got a big stupid grin on his face because he's a normally happy guy, there's also a big globby tear pouring down his face and maybe dripping down onto some of the seats below or something. And he thinks back to his own realm and family and court and is considerate of the powers at play, if you will, that this reminds him so much of the more powerful members of the Sealy court who can wield magic seemingly at whim, and how deeply rooted this all is in the notions of the cycle of life, and is just not quite dumbstruck, but just sort of in awe of what is going on. Also a little bit covetous of the beautiful diamond, but perhaps recognizing that just flying down there and plucking it up is not an option because it's probably an important part of the spell or the ritual. So he's being behaved. Probably gets shot for trying to do anything like that anyway, or at least someone would try. And his hands are just I'd say, if anything else, there's probably sort of a beseech to nature to bring some more life into the room, to add to what is going on, and to bring more depth of just the very essence of life from the world around into the room.
Excellent. So this diamond faceted, reflecting the four candles, and you would swear as his radiance, the High Morn Master, begins to sing, and he's singing in common, and you hear words. It's hard to make the words out because it's in some sort of a chant almost, but you hear words like light and life and restoration and, of course, Lathander. But the four priests stand at some point as the song builds and begin to sing with the High Morn Master, and they come to the either side of the High Morn Master, and at some point in the song they all lay their hands upon the young female who lies silently, peacefully wrapped in the white vestments of the Morning Lord upon his altar. And anyone who has prayed, so that's Rue, you feel, have you had bless cast upon you before?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, you feel this warmth. It's like that first warm sunlight of spring type warmth. It almost, it's just quite warm, radiating from up near the altar area, washing over you, and you will enjoy the benefits of the bless spell for the next 24 hours for your part in the proceedings. Viz, you as well, as you are praying in your own fey way, participating with your druid craft and whatever it is you're doing with your hands, and you're so moved to tears, you as well will benefit from the effects of the bless spell for the coming 24 hours. You see Orthrin sit up and look around. And he turns far enough, Rue, that you see, he wipes his eyes, and you see this look of almost wonder on his face, like something has affected him as well. The High Morn Master pulls his hands off of Larissa's young body and pulls a metal. It almost looks like a silver coated pipe. It's about maybe 12, 13 inches long, probably an inch in diameter. High polished silver. It has some holes in the end of it, almost like a microphone, old microphone. And he dunks it in that censer, and he begins to flick holy water upon the priests, upon Larissa. And then he carries the censer, dunks it in, and walks the entire chamber, flicking holy water upon all who are present. Orthrin begins to cry and verbalize, "Thank you, Lathander. Please save my friend from what I have done. I am so, so sorry." And Rue, you feel the splash of cool water upon your face, as do you, Viz, as the High Morn Master sees you up there and blesses you. He returns the censer back to the pillar, the stand upon which it was placed earlier. The priests pull their hands from Larissa's body, and you see the High Morn Master lay his head near her chest and close his eyes for what seems like an eternity. Make a perception check, please.
25.
10.
Rue, you hear Orthrin. "Oh, the lights are going out. Where are the lights go?" And you notice, Rue, that the flicker, the beautiful glimmer, the reflection off of the facets has ended. And after a time, the High Morn Master lifts his head and stands very quietly behind the altar, and you notice that the diamond that was once upon her breast is now not visible, or gone, or something. That much has changed. The four priests return to their benches and sit. His Radiance, High Morn Master Harndar Oren, lifts his head, raises his hands to the sky, to the ceiling. "By the light of Lathander, by the blessings of the Morning Lord, this young girl breathes again, and she will return. We have been blessed this day. Let us rejoice, and please share the glad tidings with all you come in contact with, that the Morning Lord has granted us life renewed." And he bows again. The priests stand up and bow toward the altar. They sort of genuflect toward the holy symbols. They leave the incense burning, they leave the candles burning, they leave the censer, and they lead His Radiance through the back door of the sanctuary and close it. And the three of you are left to your thoughts, there with young Larissa, as she lay upon the altar, apparently recovering. Orthrin breaks down and weeps again openly, this time perhaps tears of joy, and he falls to his knees, head in his hands, as he lays his head on the bench in front of him. And all you hear is sniffling and blubbering and dwarf blubbering sounds.
Is she still mummified, or did she?
She's wrapped and still. You can see Viz and Rue, anybody looking at her, that her chest is rising and falling with breath. But she has not moved and she has not opened her eyes.
Okay. Viz is going to fly down, and in his hands is a fully grown flower. It's weird because it's not a cut flower, it actually has roots attached. And it's a beautiful white lily. He lays it gently out, flies over her, lays it gently out on her chest, and then uncharacteristically lands on the ground beside the altar and stalks toward the door to exit, muttering in common that it's time to go and find a dark fellow and give him what for. As he goes to the door, opens it, walking, and walks out the door.
Rue is going to pause for a beat and then get up and follow this out.
Okay. The door must be on some, I don't know if it's sprung or by some means, but it closes behind you, sealing the sanctuary. And so Ronvin Fix, you see Viz come out, walking this time. Brian stands very quickly. Kind of comes to Viz. You didn't disturb his radiance, I hope. And then Rue comes out.
How did it all turn out? What happened?
He lives.
Oh, well, that's
No.
wonderful news. Good.
Now we have to find the fellow who was doing this town harm.
Yes, we do. That is important.
Yes.
How are we going to do that?
Well, there's an entire set of tunnels underground. Perhaps it's time to purge them. Well, that was a tough fight, I will admit. Whoops, we lost Mara.
Oh.
Poof!
That is a cat under the table.
Oh,
Let
no.
me fix that cable.
Stream Kitty.
Cat.
Yes, Dream Kitty taking Kit Stream off.
We'll just wait your return, Ronvin. At least we can hear you. That's good.
Yeah, the cameras didn't go too far off on the overlay either.
No, it'll refix when she bounces back.
Oh, Viz, I took your spot.
Oh, so you did. And I'm in
What are you doing
London.
down there?
Right, so the four of you find yourselves in the antechamber outside the sacred, most sacred inner sanctuary of the Temple of Lathander. There are mosaic scenes of sunrise and pastoral, hillside landscapes. Paladins of Lathander in another scene defeating, some nasty-looking monsters. Things that you would typically expect to see depicted, the glory of the Morning Lord, all around between mosaics and wall hangings and a couple of paintings. It's quite nice.
We should make sure that all the entrances to town from the tunnels are sealed. You don't know what else might be down there that is going to try to come into town.
That's a good idea. It might not be a bad idea for, I don't know what kind of resources the town has, but for them to be monitored or like guarded.
We should speak to Constable Zal.
As you all are speaking, Braille goes into the sanctuary, and after a few minutes, you see him come out, and he escorts Orthrin Runemaul. His face is just all red from crying, very clearly upset. And he leads him out to you without really saying much of anything. I think she's going to live. I feel so much better, but I feel terrible. What's happened to Miss Larissa?
Yes. Well, we're going to have to collect our resources and hunt down whatever brought that foul magic that laid her low.
I'll do anything to make this right.
Nope,
I feel
you're
just
gonna
terrible.
stay in the tavern and keep it. We had a hard enough time keeping you alive.
That we did. We should go tell everyone she's gonna be all right.
You
That
certainly
could be
can.
your job. Yeah, you could
Yeah.
spread the good news, and then be extra careful not to bring anyone else in the tunnels.
I'll never go down there again. I swear.
That
Never
sounds
say
good.
never. There were some things of your establishment, I think, being stored down there, being stolen. Yes. And I think it's time that we find the local law enforcement and figure out what's going on. Because clearly some stuff's being stolen and nobody's paying attention to it.
Right.
I'm good with that, but not when it comes to throwing deadly magics around.
Mm-hmm.
That's not cool.
Some
Well,
rest.
not-
Some rest would be nice, though. Now
I
that
agree.
we know that she made it and she's okay, we should probably rest before we, go back down there
Oh.
and hunt this thing down.
No question. But the local law enforcers should know
Yeah, yeah.
that there are bad things in their tunnels that they're keeping. Obviously, if they're leading to the local lord's place where we were having dinner and then to this thing, church.
Yeah, we can definitely let them know just before we, rush back down there to smush something. Let's rest and supply.
Right. Let's recuperate a little bit.
It was quite a fight.
Orthrin smiles and bows. I can't thank you all enough for your help with Miss Larissa. I'll go back to the Red Rock and let Miss Kessler and Mr. Zoll know what happened. I'm sure he'll
Sounds
want.
good.
I'm sure he'll want to know all the details from you all, but I could at least let him know so Larissa's parents can come see her.
Well, maybe not.
I think you should do what you think is best, Orthrin. And just let everyone know. I mean, they'll all be happy to hear it, especially from you.
Yes, well. Very well, then I'm going to take my leave. Earlier, by the way, I don't know if everybody saw it, but everybody did get an advantage from Obsidian Risk, so thank you for that, Obsidian Risk. And it looks like Foxfire's given an advantage to Ronvin. Thank you, Foxfire.
Oh.
Very, very cool.
Eh,
Beer, beep, beep, beer. Little advantage. Very nice. Very nice.
The hobby got to do that because else he ends up in the doghouse that we don't own.
All right. So, are you then going to go back to the Teshford Arms to rest for the evening, or what would you like to do? Or did you want to go see Zal yourself?
We're going to go see Zal.
Okay. You would presume that he's at the Red Rock, so you can accompany Orthrin. That's not a real long trip. You would exit the temple. It is late, middle of the night late, probably 1, 2 a.m. Dagger Falls is pretty quiet. Most of what you see on the streets are the patrols of the Dagger Falls Constabulary. Their watch or militia, however you like to refer to it. The occasional drunk patron stumbling home from a night at the Dagger Reforged or perhaps the Red Rock, but you make your way through town easily enough and out through the east gate. The river, the falls, you hear roaring just upstream, and the river rushing by to your right. You take a left and follow that road back up to the Red Rock. You find the door open and unlocked. There's still one guard standing watch at the door, and you enter the Red Rock Tavern, and you do see Kessla, the proprietor, seated at a table. Kessla Fanelis, if you recall, she's half elven, all in very nicely stitched and maintained leathers. She does wear a sword at her side, and she walks with this beautifully carved wooden cane with a bit of a limp, but presently she and her cane are installed at a table. She has a tankard of ale in front of her, and with her is Zal, and also the familiar face of Carrie Willow, sitting there, all drinking tankards of ale.
Somewhere along the way, Viz took flight again.
Okay. When Orthrin leads you in, Kessla stands up, grabs her cane, and thumps her way quickly, if not a little awkwardly, not as lithe as you might expect a half-elf to be, some sort of situation with her leg that she uses her cane. She comes right over and looks at Orthrin, leans down and says something to him, puts her arm around him, and ushers him away through one of the entrances to the back half of the establishment, presumably into the kitchen or her office back there, to have a word, leaving you with Zal and with Carrie Willow. They stand, and Carrie, well, good to see you all. What transpired down there? We heard word that Miss Heatherdale did not fare too well. Please tell us your story. Zal just kind of nods, not saying a whole lot per usual.
Well, Constable Zal, is it? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And Viz just sort of floats and flies over the table and to get his attention. And
Yes. It would be wonderful if you would have a seat.
I am sitting. And he crosses his legs. I know that I'm unusual to take in this world. That's fine. You have a rat problem in your tunnels under your city that you have connected to your
Rats.
your
Rats, you
lordship's-
say?
Your lordship's place, to the big church where they brought the little girl back to life, and to this place, and to wherever. They also are able to cast lightning bolts.
Rats casting lightning bolts.
So I call them rats, but really they're hobgoblins and troll things, and someone dressed all in dark who's a spellcaster.
Whoa,
throwing
wait.
spells around.
Trolls.
Yep.
Under the town.
Yep.
In our
And there's-
tunnels.
Yes, and they're stealing your merchants' goods and storing them down there too.
Oh, what did you find down there?
I think we'll give Viz will give whatever inventory he can. I think there was barrels of beer. There were cheeses, other goods. I think as well.
Or some maps too.
I think there was a map of the tunnel system, like more than one actually.
Yeah, there are a couple different maps. Yep.
And this seems to have been run by someone with a certain amount of intelligence and ability to work in the dark.
Well,
Despite precautions.
a lot of these items are the things that went missing when we were having the issue with the dagger. It was all sort of happening at the same time. I see you found our halfling's purse. Well, that's good news for a certain feisty little one who... And you say all these items were in the tunnels? Were they in a room? What?
They were in a room where Larissa was cached as well. They had her in a hole in the floor.
Oh,
Yes.
that's rather unpleasant. And you said she was killed. By what means? Did you find her dead, or?
No, we were fighting a battle to exit the room that we were in after we'd dispatched the villains that were down there, and more came in, and then someone decided to lead with a rather prodigious lightning bolt.
Oh, lightning
Yeah.
bolt.
Yeah. And points to Ronvin, and I think it was the dwarf, I think, also got caught in that. I'm not.
I don't recall
Yeah.
precisely,
And
but yeah.
That was a bad way.
Yes.
That is what ended your Miss Larissa's life.
I see, but his radiance was able to call upon the blessings of the Morning Lord, of course, yes?
Oh, fascinating ritual. But yes, beautiful diamond was used, and she's restored to the land of the living, but she looks like she needs a lot of rest before she will be up and around.
She will be weak for some time. It sounds like he raised her from death. Diamond, you say, yes.
Very substantial.
Well, it sounds as if we have, and he kind of looks at your head. Sounds as if we have more trouble than we realized. We were hoping with the removal of this dagger that things might go back to normal.
Dagger?
But it sounds like you found items that have been stolen while the dagger was still among us.
Dagger and Dagger Falls. Imagine that.
Oh, that's right. You weren't a part of that, were you?
No, I think I'm out of the loop as well.
Yes, we had a rather nasty weapon. Some magical power that was not of this world that Rue here and Miss Ronvin and a few of their companions traveled, what was that? Mystara? To rid us of this malevolent item. But it seems we're dealing with more than just a cursed blade.
Right, there was also this dude in like a cloak. I think he had the mask on. I don't know. It was kind of dark, and that was real groggy. He rolled in there, and he was mean, and then he left. I didn't really get the good look. I'm not doing a good job of describing what we saw.
Was you say all dark-skinned?
I think he's wearing dark clothes.
Completely wrapped in dark clothes, yes. And was speaking, I'm trying to remember now. He was first speaking to us in a language we didn't understand, and then switched to accented common.
Very heavily accented. Like
Did
mine.
anyone, I'm just trying to get specific, I don't remember if anyone who spoke Elf recognized any part of the original language, or was there any recognition from any of our language bases?
I don't think anyone speaks the language that the individual was speaking to you at first.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so either.
I know I certainly didn't. I think
You say this
Well,
was a
then you speak Elvish?
spellcaster?
he seemed to cast spells, yeah.
Yeah, he like turned invisible and ran out, or maybe he like teleported or something.
Oh.
He just like disapparated. It was weird.
Well, he dropped a globe of darkness, which is not a problem, but he did manage to get away somehow, which is annoying.
A globe of darkness.
Yeah, like this one I have in
that-
this bag right here.
No, don't pull it out.
Don't. Okay.
That sounds to me like he kind of looks around and he looks at Carrie, and Carrie kind of nods. That sounds to me like a drow elf. Globe of darkness. Well, these are dark tidings. We do not want to have to deal with the elves of the Underdark. What say you, Rue? Any thoughts on this situation? Do you have any ideas?
I think that we should seal any access points that you know of from the tunnels into the town.
Okay, we
So
do
we
do
can-
keep those locked, yes.
until we can make sure that we secure the tunnels. And I think we're going to have to methodically go through and make sure that all the maps are updated and we know where they go, and or seal them off so that more evil creatures don't find their way in.
Yes. Do you have the maps? Did you bring them out? I presume you brought all of the items.
I think we tried, but there was an awful lot of stuff down there. I'm just saying that as a player.
Yeah, out of game, I think you probably all grabbed the valuables and left the mundane items down there, because there were some swords, there were bows and arrows, there was that purse. You had a tall middle urn full of coins and gems. There was some chainmail shirts with the Dagger Falls heraldry upon it.
Mm-hmm. I got some spell scrolls from the Hobgoblin, but that's the only thing I have written down that I took.
Yep.
Yeah. There was a staff, spell components, an ornate silver ring, the scroll tubes, and a bunch of coin.
Yeah, it was this quarterstaff. Very, very nice. Metal tipped, carved.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very nice quarterstaff that was being wielded by the Hobgoblin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, seems that we have bigger problems than we thought. Drow, the appearance of Drow is not good. They work in concert with other evil forces, or it could just be something of the Drow that has their attention up here on the surface. This is good information. We are grateful to you. But yes, I do think that we do need to scout things out down there. Make sure that all the tunnels have been explored thoroughly, emptied of any evil. We do keep everything sealed. One tunnel I know goes under the Lord's Keep. That is not only sealed but guarded. It always has been. It enters a place in the keep that is separate from, although it's connected but separate from the main living quarters and building, and that area is under close scrutiny. But my fear is that those tunnels go well beyond Dagger Falls, somewhere down there.
You don't think that this might be tied with what was the people with the coin, the Zentarim? You don't think this guy might have something to do with that stuff, do you?
The Zentarum? The Black
yeah.
Network? They've had their eye on the Dalelands for, well, centuries. In fact, they at one point occupied this very town, Dagger Falls.
Oh, wow.
They also occupied Snowmantle. It was a logging and slave camp some time ago, a small town in the border woods not far from here, northeast of here. It wouldn't surprise me to learn that the Black Network had something to do with the theft, the dagger that was here, this dark figure. I'm sure that the Zentarum have the Drow among their numbers, or if not within the network, I'm sure that they coordinate. I don't know that firsthand, but yes.
We know that there was the person who brought the dagger here from Starl was a Drow who was associated with the Black Network.
Yeah, what did you call them? The Hydra.
Yes.
That is odd. Such an odd name. Strange. We have also, one thing that I was hoping to talk with you about at a later date, since we're here. There have been some issues with caravans being looted, murders and robberies along the trade road between the Dalelands and towns east of here, Zental Keep, and so forth. So that was something that I had hoped that we might be able to look into. We need to secure the safety of that road, at least while it runs through the Dalelands. Much trade and commerce comes to and from Dagger Falls along that road, and it will not do to have caravans avoiding us due to unsafe roads.
Right, unsafe roads, big problem.
We do a fair amount of trade with Flan on the northern shore of the Moonsea, and also on the southern shore, Hillsfar, Ulash, even items from Cormanthor, fineries and antiquities from Mithranor find their way through Dagger Falls. So these trade roads need to be maintained.
Is there an alliance of towns that would collaborate to try to secure these towns or these roads?
It's a good question, Rue. The Dalelands, each of the Dales is its own entity, but there is a council, if you will, that probably needs to take this up as a matter of discussion. The Dalelands have often supported one another in the defense of the Dalelands. The various Dales come together with their respective resources, skills, and the like. So I will advise Lord Cormeril when he returns from Cormyr. He departed just this morning. I will advise, in fact, I may just send word along to him of the situation and see if he might raise this issue with the other cities in the Dalelands, the other towns.
Do you have any idea of what kind of protection that these caravans that were traveling that have been getting looted and stuff had when they were getting attacked? Is it?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, young lad. It really varies from caravan to caravan. Some of the larger caravans, merchants have more funds to hire men-at-arms, mercenaries. Interestingly enough, oftentimes they will hire Zentirum agents as sword arms, or they'll buy arms from the Zentirum to arm themselves in their caravans. So that's a very curious. It really depends on the caravan and the merchant. A lot of the smaller caravans are the ones that are being hit. The larger ones, the ones with the Zentirum sword arms, don't seem to be having as many issues, but that would make sense, just because they're more well protected.
Right. That sounds awfully coincidental.
How do you mean?
What? I mean, excuse me if I'm misspeaking, but it sounds like if you don't hire the Zentarum to protect your caravan, then you get robbed. And if you do hire them, you're perfectly fine.
Yes, that's been a thing. That would not be a surprise to learn if that were part of the situation. But yes, it's not maybe that cut and dry, but that could be part of it, yes.
Yeah. This is a headache.
Headache indeed. Carrie Willow sits up, kind of clears his throat, drains his tankard, and pulls out a rolled up bit of paper. Well, I nearly forgot. I've got a message for you all from a dear friend, I believe. And he flips the rolled up paper. It's tied with a little string to Rue. Your friend Fragile left you this at the Dagger Reforged. I hadn't seen you to give it to you till now, and what with all the excitement, I nearly forgot. I do apologize.
I was going to ask if you had seen her. I was surprised she wasn't with us in the
Yes.
tunnels.
Yes, she did come in earlier this evening in a bit of a hurry. She didn't seem as carefree and laissez-faire as she normally does, but she did write you a note and made me promise to get it to you.
I will open the note.
Yes, so you see simple plain paper. Looks to be, standard ink and quill. In the spidery flowing script that you've seen before from Fragile. So clearly written by her hand. It says, Friends, I must leave you. My sincerest apologies for this sudden departure, but Mother calls. She's asked that I hasten away into the shadows for some purpose I do not clearly comprehend. Some darkness has befallen a special place within the Dalelands away to the southeast. My soul is hers, so I must not tarry any further. I will think of all of you fondly while I travel. I sing a song to your health and happiness, my friends. May your journeys bring you to warm beds and full bellies always. Thank you for allowing me the honor of accompanying you for a time. And then a big cursive F.
His shoulders definitely slump after the first sentence.
Mm.
Then he finishes and he hands the note over to London. And to the others, he just says, looks like Fragile had other business to attend to. She will not be accompanying us anymore.
Well, I wish her well. Hopefully, all of this business doesn't pose too much of trouble for her.
Until we meet again.
Wipe away the tears.
Not funny. Not funny.
Well, it sounds to me like we got us a big situation. Perhaps all of these things are connected, perhaps not, but we had hoped by ridding ourselves of the dagger and getting Lorivar back on the right side of things, our lives may go back to the calm we usually enjoy around here, but it seems we've only dug into the beginnings of our problems.
Right, it seems like this is a little bit more, well, complicated than at first we expected.
Indeed. And there's no use jumping to conclusions. We do need to know who and what we are dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
I like your idea, Rue Shahar, of investigating those tunnels down there and sealing things off to make sure we don't have any more trouble from down there. But my guess, knowing the history of this place, that those tunnels are simply a quick means to an end. I don't think our problem resides in those tunnels.
Are there any Zentarum agents that you know of in town now? Perhaps some passing through that might be looking for work or something of the like.
Right. Yeah, Zal kind of strokes his chin. That's a good question. We do see them from time to time in the market area or in one of the taverns. Usually they're with a caravan. I would recommend you talk to Asha Tanner. She runs the winding trail just east of town on the trade road just outside the walls. That's the outfitter. She often will post work opportunities on her boards on the front porch of the winding trail. Yeah, I think that would be the way to go.
Rude, do you plan on having a civil conversation with one of these people?
Rue, almost grins at that. Starts to smile, but not quite.
Bring it in.
I guess that depends on them, but probably.
Okay. Just trying to prepare, never be too ready, you know.
Well, we can send some men tomorrow down into the tunnels to collect all of the stolen property and recheck all of the locks and portcullises and doorways and things. But it seems obviously they're getting into the tunnel system from somewhere outside of it. So perhaps the company of the Iron Phoenix might be interested in doing a little exploring down there. And then there's also this issue with the caravans. I had thought perhaps, he kind of looks at Carrie and Carrie kind of nods at him. I thought perhaps a little camping trip somewhere east. Get somewhere above the road where you can watch, see what you can see. Perhaps conceal yourselves. Might be worth a few days camp. Something to think about. We would certainly compensate you.
Both of those are things we could tackle, starting in the morning, of course.
Yes, of course. You must be exhausted after your trials. I would imagine that the Heatherdale family has now come into some expense associated with his Radiance, the High Mornmaster, and the restoration of Larissa. So I am confident that they will not be in a position to reward you for her safe return. Miss Kessler, he kind of looks around, and Carrie hops up and goes behind the bar and comes back with a sack. Chink. Sets it on the table. Yeah, this here coin is from Miss Kessler for your efforts this evening and seeing to the almost safe return of the young lady and our dwarven friend, who I am sure has learned his lesson. He must be feeling awful. But you'll find in there 200 gold pieces for your trouble this evening. I hope that is sufficient reward for your efforts. I'm sure Constable Zoll here would be more than happy to strike a contract in the morning to get you all arranged and compensated to not only explore the tunnels, but perhaps look into this caravan situation out on the road. Yes, of course, Saul says. We can meet at the constabulary tomorrow. Get yourself some rest, and we'll discuss terms and lay plans.
It's very generous of you. Thank you very much. Might need to get a little bit of rest. I don't know about everyone else, but I'm feeling kind of beat.
Zal and Carrie will stand up and offer you a firm handshake. Tankard's drained. It is late. Did you want anything to drink? I do apologize. I was so interested in your tale, I didn't even offer you an ale. Miss Kessler sort of dashed off now, didn't she?
For a tale. I'm good.
Oh, yeah.
This is taking a sort of floating randomly about as the talk of paperwork starts getting underway. Boring.
Very well, then. We will see you sometime tomorrow. Take your time, rest well, get cleaned up, whatever you need to do, get your affairs in order. And it seems we have some more work for the company of the Iron Phoenix.
Awesome.
Very well. He and Carrie kind of stand and wait for you all to exit. And
Stand and exit.
Carrie yells out, "Good evening, Miss Kessler. Make sure you lock up behind us. We've concluded our business." And everyone exits the Red Rock Tavern. It is darker than dark out. Cloudy night. The tavern itself sits not far back off the road, but it is surrounded by very mature, large trees, so it's tough to get any moon or starlight right around the building until you get out on the road. You look up, and it is apparently quite cloudy because there are no stars nor moon within sight.
So, Wiley, was just to clarify, was that $200 for all of us or a piece?
That was a bag with 200 gold coins in it, so
Okay.
however you wish to distribute that between the four of you. Okay, where to?
I think it's time to go get some sleep.
Mm-hmm.
To the Teshford?
That's what.
Fix, did we decide that you and Rue were sharing a room?
We can. I think you covered me for the last one, but we could share a room if you want. Want to be bunk mates?
Rue would not suggest that, but if that was what we had agreed on, then
No, I think Fix had his own room the prior night.
okay, then that's fine. So Wiley, Rue's gonna go up to his room and kind of get cleaned up and and then he's going to go actually down to the bakery, and he's going to try to get behind the counter there, and he's going to sleep on the floor there.
Okay,
No.
very good. You're able to do that, not a problem. Fix, Ronvin, and Viz, each going to your respective rooms in the Teshford Arms, I presume?
Mm-hmm.
For sleep and rest and goodness.
That is correct.
All right, very well.
And probably a bath.
And probably a bath, yeah. There is a night staff. There's a young human woman there, probably early 20s. You can easily arrange for a hot bath to be prepared for you. Not a problem. The nice thing about the baths there is the water is... There's mint leaves that are crushed and steeped in it, and it's so hot, it's like bathing in a giant mint tea. Very invigorating, sort of a mentholyptus bath. Very, very nice. And so while you are absolutely tired to the bone, and Fix, you're even feeling a little bit soul-crushed. Rough night. You find your bathing experience to be quite invigorating, giving you just enough energy to get back upstairs to your room and pass out.
Nice.
Rue, you're a couple hours into some rather uncomfortable sleep on the wooden floor in the bakery when you're awoken to the sounds of feet shuffling on the floor and a gasp of the female variety. Oh, goodness. Rue, is that you?
Morning, Jen.
Hi, good morning. What are you doing in my bakery?
I just wanted to make sure you are okay.
I am. Why would I not be? Or why wouldn't I be? Or, I'm sorry, I still need to rub the sleep out of my eyes. It's time to make the donuts.
Is there anyone else about yet?
Oh, Oliver's about here somewhere. He's usually in before me, getting the fires going and the like. Why are we being all secretive? Do we need to go outside and whisper again? Or are you just here to pilfer me cupcakes?
I mean, wouldn't say no to a few more cupcakes, but
I think your waistcoat might want to say no to a few more cupcakes there, Sonny Jim.
he just kind of looks down and then like his gut like recedes by about 6 inches.
Oh, Too
Problem
late.
solved.
Yeah. That horse has left the barn some time ago. I've been watching you sleep there. Yeah, you might want to try some of me brand cupcakes. The ones without the icing.
Look, Dan, there's all kinds of Zentarum activity going on around here.
Oh, you're serious then, aren't you? Are they here? And she looks around like they're standing right around the corner. Are they here in the inn, you mean?
Who knows?
Oh? Are you in trouble again?
I mean, I think when the Zentarum are around, it's safe to assume I'm in trouble.
Oh? Is it that girl again?
Probably.
Luanda, or whatever her name is. The pretty one. The one that I believe I told you. Oh, she's going to be trouble. Now, didn't I tell you? Didn't I? And what did she turn out to be? She kind of wags her finger. Well, you do a lot of dumb things now, don't you? Yeah.
That's true, too.
I still love you, though. She squeezes your cheek. Give you a good pinch.
I worry about you being here in town.
Oh, you worry too much, boy. She pulls out this beautiful chocolate cupcake with chocolate frosting all dolloped up, and she sets it in front of you. Here, that'll tide you over. That'll make you feel a little bit better. Perhaps reduce your worry, if not your waistcoat.
Lala finds out that you're here and that she can use you against me. I don't know what's going to happen.
I'm trying to remember, however. I don't know that she knows who I am, does she?
With Lala, it's safe to assume she knows everything.
Oh, I see.
More safe to assume that than to assume that she doesn't know.
Very well. So what do you suggest I do?
I haven't the foggiest idea. But
This has been right helpful then.
yes. Yes.
She starts to fuss about getting going, lighting some candles and things in the baking area, getting the baking ovens, fires built, getting them warmed up as she's talking to you.
Yeah.
Today's bread day, so I can't waste too much time talking to you. So I guess I'll just keep me wits about me, like usual, unlike some people I know.
You always were better at that than I was.
Mr. Oh, I'm in trouble with the Zentarum again. What you been doing anyway? Where you been keeping yourself? You're in here, you're out to here in the middle of the night and don't see you for days. You look like hell, if I'm being honest now.
Yeah, that's fair. We've been working for Lord Cormero on various things.
Oh, I see. Lord Fancy Pants, eh? Or does they say it around here? She looks, Lord Carn Muffin. Hey.
Nice. Nice. I'll be sure to call him that next time.
No, I don't recommend that.
I'll tell him you told me that was his name.
Where's your girlfriend? The one who likes the cupcakes? The pretty dark one? Fragile, I think her name was. She fancied you.
Really? You think so?
I think so.
No.
She sure fancied my cupcakes. But I'm guessing more than half of them found their way into your waistcoat.
Yeah, everybody fancies your cupcakes.
She kind of blushes. That's what I
But,
do.
Fragile had to go off on her. Unfortunately.
Ah, I see. You and women. Just in again, out again, off they go on an adventure, just like Mum. Say,
He freezes when she says that.
oh, say something wrong, did I?
I have something to tell you about that,
Oh,
actually.
she drops a pan on the floor. Shh, sorry.
Uh,
What is it?
I have news about Mom.
Have you found the old girl? Where is she? Is she still alive?
She's alive and still working for a monitor.
Oh, that. I see. Where she be? Anyone nearby? We can go give her some hell.
She is in El Terrell.
Where in blazes would that be?
I have to find it on the map again, but it's not anywhere near here.
I see. Well, convenient for her
It's
then.
a few 10 days away.
Well, she kind of wipes her hands on her apron. I'm sure the weather's nice there and all that's good for her then. Hope she's doing all right. And she ends the topic.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, let me get this right. You spent the night on the hard wooden floor just to get up and tell me a bunch of hooey about your ex-girlfriends, and I might be in danger, but you didn't really know nothing. Except I should be careful.
I've slept in worse places.
Well, I do keep it clean here. And there are cupcakes. I'll be taking inventory, I'll have you know.
Yes, you make sure you do that.
So, you going to be in town a while?
Who knows? There's talk of us taking another trip already to go find wars in time to shake down and see what's going on.
Oh. Sounds a wee dangerous.
That's what I do.
Yes, it is. That and worry about me for nothing. I suppose I'll have a word with Mr. Sardin and make sure that he, Oliver there, make sure he keeps an eye for strangers and folks that look a little shady.
Do that.
We don't see too much of that kind of rapscallion type of business in here, being that the inn is so nice and all. And, you know, how many criminals do you know that want to sleep on a mint pillow at night?
Want to or do are two different things.
Aye, 'tis true. Well, either way, we'll keep our eyes open. I do appreciate the warning and all, but I'm sure I'll be just fine.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna close my eyes for another hour or two.
Do you think
seeing people are awake?
You might want to do that up in your room then?
Nah, I'm good.
So I'm going to be stepping over your carcass while I'm trying to get me bread ready, eh? All
Sure.
right, well, hopefully I don't drop any more pans.
Sounds good.
Or me rolling pin.
I'm just gonna lay back and go back to sleep.
She steps over you and gets to work making her scones and breads and cupcakes. Lovely confections. Okay, so everybody goes back to sleep. Well, everybody's been sleeping except Rue. Gosh, Rue, I don't know. Are we going to get our 6 hours in tonight? I don't know that you're going to get your long rest, buddy.
Yeah, I have a feeling.
You may have just forfeited that. But Fix and Ronvin and Viz, as the sun rises in the eastern sky and the cocks crow and the dogs howl, you may mash the long rest button upon your character sheets. Rue, we're not going to hit you with any exhaustion. But, you know, sleeping on a wood floor, getting up, having a long conversation involving some stress and emotion, I think you might have gambled away your long rest for the evening.
Okay.
But I will say that your nap and what rest you did get will get you 5 hit points of healing back.
I'm still looking pretty rough.
Excellent. I mean, darn it.
Ah,
Okay, so it's morning. And by the sounds of it and the heat coming in the windows, it's mid-morning.
Holy shit.
We had some sleepy peepees. Tired adventurers. What would y'all like to do?
Get up and get some breakfast.
Biz is going to flip downstairs and look for breakfast.
Oh yeah, food and mint tea.
Mmm.
Very nice. Yes. So you find the tap room and the front porch of the Teshford Arms, a busy place by, say, 9:30 in the morning. A number of people are in there dining. Full complement of servers. You see the proprietor hustling and bustling. Oliver Sardin is his name. Middle-aged male, sort of balding, wears a vintner's apron, more probably just to show people that he's a winemaker as much as an innkeeper. You can hear Mama Beldy barking orders in the kitchen, and his younger sister Ella and her young teenage daughter Giovanna are working, and you also see a human female with bloodshot eyes, kind of puffy, just looks exhausted, also working, and in fact she comes to your table. Yes, good morning. What can I get for you? My name is Elena.
Good morning, Elena. Are you okay? You look like you didn't sleep a wink.
I did not. My daughter suffered a grievous injury last evening. She was rescued by some people, and then I don't really know all the...
Mm-hmm.
She's going to be okay, I think, but it was an awful time. Anyway, you don't need to... I don't wish to burden you with my troubles. What could I get for you this morning, my friends? And she looks... And she kind of cocks her head when she kind of sees Viz. Oh, aren't you curious?
I've heard of this thing called coffee.
Oh, yes, we have wonderful coffee here. And mint tea. Yes.
Coffee.
Fresh scones are going to be coming out of the oven very, very soon.
Sounds delicious.
Din's Delights. Our baker, Din, is very, very, very skilled.
Is Din the cupcake making one?
Yes. Oh, so you've heard of her. Yes, she is.
Heard. Oh.
So then a cupcake for you, sweetie?
Yes, please, please.
She kind of ruffles your hair, like she's your mom all of a sudden.
Oh.
And you, dearie, Ronvin, right? Is it Ronvin? I've met you before. You're with that adventuring group, right? The Iron something.
Yes, mint tea and 2 cupcakes, please.
Yes, all right, very good. The flavor of the day for the cupcakes is chocolate. It's a chocolate cupcake with chocolate bits in it, and then the icing is chocolate. It's to die for.
My goodness.
Yes, 2, please.
It's very, very moist. Yes, 2 cupcakes. Yes, and for you, young man, and she looks at Viz. Well, you don't look young. You just look really small.
Size isn't everything. Yes, I'd like a cupcake, and I'd like a scone, and I'd like a sausage, and I'd like a bacon, and what else do you recommend?
Where will you be putting all of this? Just curious. I'll get them for you. No problem. But you seem so...
It'll fit. Don't worry.
Okay.
Like a bacon.
Yes, we have fried mush. It's like a cornmeal. It's fried. It's very tasty. We have oatmeal, and of course eggs. Lots of eggs. Potatoes.
Eggs.
I love eggs.
Eggs. Potatoes.
Okay.
Cornmeal. Yes, all of that.
Very, very well. So 3 cupcakes and everything. For
I have a
littlest
sausage
one.
as well, please.
Sausage? Okay, very well. All right. I'll have that out. And 3 coffees?
Water, please.
Water? Okay, very good. All right, then. I will be back with 2 coffees and a water. and some yummy cupcakes. Chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. And she kind of sighs and wanders off, kind of shaking her head. And before she can return with your coffee, an adorable little redheaded young lady, probably 13 seasons, comes with a tray, big cup of water for Fix. There you are. And then she sets two big mugs of coffee, one in front of Ronvin, one in front of Viz. A small little pouring pitchery thing with cream and some sugar cubes and like a carafe with more coffee. She sets it there. Very good. Your food will be out just a few minutes. In fact, I think Elena's bringing your cupcakes right now. Chocolate. Yes.
Chocolate, chocolate, chocolate.
And she kind of wipes her hands on her nice clean apron and scuttles away with her tray under her arm. And boy, before you can even say, where the hell are my cupcakes? Elena comes with a pewter tray, and upon it are ranged are 6 cupcakes. And the icing on them is like, this thick, kind of dolloped up. And it looks like there might even be some kind of shaved chocolate or sprinkle on top of the icing. And these cupcakes are pretty big around. They're, like that tall. And then the icing is on top of that. And she sets them down. Enjoy.
We just dig in, I assume.
I've already had 2. And she kind of giggles and walks off. As exhausted as she is, and as careworn as she is, she does appear that the weight of the world has been released from her care.
No.
That's good. So Viz will start hauling blocks of sugar out and dumping them into the coffee.
Okay.
As much as will fit without spilling over. Looks at it. Looks at everyone else. Looks at the muffin. And then waits and just starts chugging the coffee back as much as possible without burning himself.
It's hot.
Yeah.
It is hot coffee. You could see that Giovanna had actually poured it right from a kettle that had been hanging over the hearth before she brought it over. Yes, but the coffee is excellent. Rue, you are awakened by the sound of patrons and talking, and you wake up and kind of sneeze as there's a fine coating of flour upon you, maybe some sugar, you don't know. You've gone to sleep right in the battle zone of baked goods.
I would like to try to sneak a cupcake from Din's stash.
Okay. Go ahead and roll sleight of hand. And I'm going to roll perception from her at -2 because she's so busy doing things.
Oh, am I at disadvantage? You said no exhaustion. Right?
No exhaustion. You're tired as hell, but
Yeah.
you just didn't get the benefits of a long rest. You did get a little bit of healing.
So maybe something like a short rest.
So you did sleight of hand. That's a 24.
Okay. Yeah, so you palm a cupcake from the cupcake case.
I'd like to leave a bag of 100 gold in its place.
Of what?
Of 100 gold.
Okay. With a 19 before attack bonus, a rather sharp bread knife sticks in the wood framing of the back of the display case. I saw that now. With a giggle, and she doesn't miss a beat.
He's gonna slowly turn
Thank you
And
for
stop.
paying.
and then stuff the whole cupcake in his mouth.
Oh, hello. Yeah, it is moist. Like, it's airy and fluffy, but then as you compress it, you can feel how moist and sticky it is, and it kind of sticks to the roof of your mouth. And the chocolate is not milk chocolate. It's a medium dark chocolate. but it's really creamy, sort of that truffle sort of creaminess for the icing. And then the cupcake itself is just this airy, floaty, light cake. And then when you bite into it, the moisture kind of takes over and it compresses and sticks to the roof of your mouth. And the cake is a little more cocoa-y, a little darker than the icing. And there are these chunks the size of peas of
man.
dark chocolate that just melt and disintegrate as you bite through them. And you're just kind of...
It's really good.
That's, yeah.
I
And you
want a
get
cupcake so bad.
icing all over your upper lip and crumbs down the front of you from out of the paper. Yeah. That's
And then I'll try to sneak out of there so it's not obvious to anybody else that I was back there.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to do that, no problem. You hear her kind of chuckle and giggle. Thank you for the advantage, Obsidian Risk. Apparently my cupcake description scored me a DM advantage. Thank you very much. They're Din's Cupcakes, Din's Delights, right? Yeah, and so if you... Go ahead, Rue.
So can I count that as a short rest?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I
Oh,
will
some of them
hit
hit
this.
die.
Yeah.
It does. I want a cupcake so bad. It's like
All right.
Oh man.
You heading out to the tap room then, Rue?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's about 3/4 full. Looks like a lot of locals, people you've seen in here before, small groups seated at tables. There's no fire in the hearth as it is high summer. All the windows are open. The mint fields that are north of the establishment down the hill. The breeze, as usual, is blowing right out of the north, blowing this fresh mint smell right in the open windows of the Teshford Arms. There's probably 8 or 10 people on the veranda, the sweeping wraparound porch, seated at tables, drinking mint tea, coffee, eating cupcakes and scones. And Elena comes out with a platter. There's a bowl of what looks to be like shredded julienne potatoes that have been fried on a griddle. Smells like maybe there's some onions chopped in there. They are absolutely golden brown, crisp. She sets that bowl on the table, and the smell just radiates, the onions cooked in with the hash browns. She sets a plate with several plump 4 to 5 inch long little sausages, look to be tied off, little knots at the ends, natural casing. They're going to snap really hard when you eat them. Loaded with, meaty goodness and juice. There's also a plate with 3 cranberry and butterscotch chunk scones. Very dense and heavy also there. And a big bowl of fluffy whipped scrambled eggs. It looks like there's cheese melted on it. And I think that was... Did I get everything, Viz? Potatoes, sausage.
Bacon?
Oh, bacon. Yeah, there's
a
a half ration. Oh, yes. A half ration of bacon. And then there is a plate with these yellow discs about yay big that have been browned on each side. And they smell faintly of garlic. Like maybe they were fried in a screaming hot iron skillet with garlic butter. Yeah.
Do you cook?
I do.
Can I come over?
Sure. And they set everything down in front of you, and just the happiness that is breakfast kind of washes over you. The smoky of the bacon, the salty savoriness of the sausage, those potatoes with the onions, heavily peppered. And out comes Oliver, smiling from ear to ear. Ah, yeah. The roadworthy breakfast, my favorite. I hope everything is to your liking. Please let us know if we can get you anything further. Elena and Giovanna will be around with more coffee. And he kind of smiles and he ruffles your hair.
No.
Just like they can't help it.
I got ruffleable hair.
You seem very ruffly, yeah. And so Rue joins you, I presume, at the table?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there magically is breakfast enough for all.
Yeah.
Courtesy of Viz.
Thank you, Viz. Or is this all for you?
Well, yeah, that's if he shares it.
Well, the intention was that I only really wanted one of everything. Now we've got more than one of everything, so everyone can have some.
Okay.
Viz is probably covered in icing and a lot of bacon grease and sausage grease and whatever else is going on there. And just drinking more and more coffee, getting more and more high speed agitated, and just flitting from one edible to the next, to the next, to the next. Like, and it's just getting worse because the coffee is completely saturated with sugar, and he's on a caffeine buzz and a sugar buzz.
Nice.
And it's just going from dish to 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 dish until he falls over completely coated in food and looking like a little tiny little tummy just sort of like that's a gigantic unseemly belch.
Was that an unseelie belch?
Unseemly.
Unseemly.
Indeed.
Wow.
Very sealy.
That was a pretty good fake out, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
DM jokes. All right, so you all make your way through breakfast. It's a celebratory occasion, indeed. The Teshford Arms has somewhat emptied out as most people have moved off onto their activity, whether it be for work or maybe selling wares in the market or buying wares in the market or perhaps just getting on the road to whatever adventure awaits them. What would the party like to do?
Does there seem to be anyone in the tap room of Zentaran background?
Age-old question: what does a Zent look like?
Criminal.
Yeah, they're usually in dark armor or dark cloaks. They usually look rather mercenary or maybe sneakish, whatever those things are.
Just like
but
Rue.
then again, maybe the sneakiest of them look like the most noble, pure of heart person you'd ever want to meet. But nobody seems to look like what you've experienced, Rue, as a Zentarum. You don't see any sword arms mercenary types. You don't see any Zentarum heraldry, the flying snake insignia, or any badges, anything like that. Looks like mostly what you would consider probably locals, or perhaps some people who have traveled in from out of town. You know, the Teshford is not your typical roadside inn. It's up a notch or two. I wouldn't say that it's fancy and posh, but it's nicer than the typical D&D tavern that attracts the wide variety of ruffian and scoundrel and adventurer. This is a little more of a family, Great Wolf Lodge kind of, type of deal.
It's like the Cracker Barrel to the
Cracker Barrel, yeah.
to the Waffle House.
Yeah, it's not Dave's Waffle House or whatever. Yeah, I mean not you, Dave, but just any Dave.
I want waffles now.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, we could either start by doing the thing on the road, or we could try and do the tunnel thing. I can't see at night, so I think I'm gonna be as helpful as I'm gonna be in either one. So it's up to y'all.
Well, the more pressing problem seems to be the tunnels.
I think you're right.
I would agree.
Either way, I think Zal was looking to meet with you all to discuss terms and lay plans over at the constabulary.
Whoops.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we head that way then. Go talk to Zal.
Very well. So you make your way out of the Teshford Arms, and you see the mint fields. Beautiful breeze blowing up the hill, the mint kind of waving. You make your way down the lane and make a left turn and head back down the hill across the Tesh River. Again, the beautiful roar, that constant thrumming of the falls, just a quarter of a mile upstream from Dagger Falls. The beauty of the stony, sort of shallow, kind of foamy, bluish river, probably a good 60 yards across. You go across the dual lane stone bridge and enter into the east gate, passing by a pair of Dagger Falls militia who simply nod. And you make your way through the busy streets. And by busy streets, it's bustling. There are carts being pulled and set up in the market area. There's a caravan that, oddly enough, seems to have a couple of rather swarthy-looking humans. Maybe one looks maybe like a half-orc. Definitely wearing darkish armor. Each equipped with a light crossbow and a longsword, wearing splint mail. They are accompanying one in back, one in front. The caravan looks to be a merchant caravan from somewhere, pulling into the market. But it's just all manner of hustle and bustle. But that's pretty much what stands out to you. You see the patrols in pairs of the constabulary, the militia of Dagger Falls, as you make your way over to the constabulary headquarters. You enter in, and you're greeted by none other than Zal himself. He is at the counter, arguing with someone about something, about fees and regulations. And the person finally thumps down a pile of silver and walks off in a huff as Zal stands there shaking his head. Every year they try to get out of that fee. Every year I end up collecting it. I just don't understand people. And he kind of scrapes it into a drawer behind the counter. Good morning, friends. Shall we find somewhere placed quiet to sit and talk?
Yes, of course.
He lifts up a part of the counter so you can walk through it, slams it back down, and he leads you back into a labyrinth of small offices and what look to be maybe holding cells, temporary jail, because there is more stout jail facilities deeper into the complex. And he pulls you into a side room that looks to be made for 3 or 4 people, and apparently all 5 of you are going to squeeze in there. He goes to the room next door. Yes?
As we're walking back there, I will look at the constable and say, by the way, how is Spernick doing?
Oh, yes. Yeah, he's holding up nicely. Doing well, minding his business. Yeah. He seems to have seen the error of his ways. And so with continued good behavior, he may yet become a free man.
Good to hear.
Yes. He goes in the other room and pulls a couple more chairs so that the 5 of you can crowd around a smallish, simple, rather Spartan wooden table. And he pulls out a sheaf of papers and a quill and a little inky ink thing and sets them out. All right, so we've got a couple of matters at hand. One, of course, the tunnels. What I'm thinking is I've already sent the men down there, and they've come back, and all the portcullises that lead into buildings here in the town have been checked and rechecked. They're locked, they're secure, they've not been trifled with. We've had a mage go down and do some whatever wizards do, and they tell me there's no issues of magical nature. But there's a cavern, a cave there that looked like someone had been sleeping in, or I don't know, like sleeping in. Looked like pallets for sleeping, and then there was a room with a pit sort of around the corner from that, where it sounds like the room maybe where you found Miss Larissa. But it sounds like those two spaces, they don't lead anywhere in Dagger Falls, so I think those might be the places to look to see if anything is getting into that area from outside the tunnel network. Otherwise, everything seems to be as it should.
Sounds like a good place to start.
Very well. I think what we could do is offer the group 100 gold from the city treasury for you to go down there and inspect those spaces, search the tunnels thoroughly for any signs of entry or digging or anything like that, I suppose. Should you encounter any threat that poses a threat to your lives, we would certainly be willing to increase the compensation perhaps to 200 for the party, 50 gold each. If you encounter anything that threatens you and puts your lives in jeopardy. Otherwise, 100 gold sound about right, just to go and have a look for any entrances or egress, ingress.
Sounds very generous to me.
Okay.
Sure.
Would you like me to send backup after an amount of time, or will you be secure amongst yourselves, just exploring until you've explored and come back when you're done?
We will turn and look at Viz. What do you think?
I think the coffee's been really good.
We do have guards on the Dagger Falls side of all three portcullises, 2 at each location, 1 beneath Lathander's Light, 1 beneath the Lord's Keep, and 2 each site beneath Red Rock Tavern. But there will be no guards posted on the tunnel side until you determine whether or not that would also be advisable.
And how much time are we planning on spending down there? Are we actually gonna sleep down there, or are we gonna make sure we're gonna return for a rest up and return the next day? Because if we don't come back to
Mm-hmm.
It did take you a good probably most of an hour to get all the way back into the room where Larissa was.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pretty long walk down there. Of course, you were being careful, trying to be somewhat quiet, and you did run into that intersection where the darkness was, and so you noodled around with that. So you're guessing it's probably going to take you at a decent pace, probably a half an hour, to get all the way back in there, give or take half hour, 20 minutes.
Based on the maps that we've seen
Yep.
and our direct experience, like how long do we think it would take to cover the whole network? Just from
If
a
you wanted to
matter
cover
of-
the entire thing, you're probably going to need a full hour to get down there from the Red Rock. And because you remember there was that one big, long, windy tunnel that got you to the intersection. Then it went north and south and straight. And then there was a branch off the south. South went to the Temple Vault, and north went to the Lord's Keep. And then he's described a cavern and the room that you found Larissa in. So if you were to spend enough time to look around all of that, it would probably be a good hour, hour and a half.
Okay.
Barring any further investigation that takes you anywhere or any, run-ins with anything.
For my part, I was expecting we'd probably spend about a day doing that, and unless we ran into something that had us more occupied with running away or fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's not unreasonable. I mean, we can go through that pretty well then.
So let's say if we don't... are you planning on heading down now then?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say if we don't see you by sundown, I'll send a team down just to make sure there are no issues.
Sure.
That sounds good to
Sounds
me.
good.
That sounds relatively safe, right?
That's at our cost.
Right.
Not yours. Separate situation. Okay, very good. And perhaps we can then address the caravan issue upon your safe return.
Sounds
Yes,
good.
that sounds good to me. We'll readdress and reassess as we find more information.
All right. Very well then. He stands up and shakes everybody's hand. Wish you the light and blessing of Lathander. And he hands you a contract, just very simple, spells out the fact that you're going to investigate the tunnel network below Dagger Falls, you have a map to do so. All the maps basically match. I think there were 2 or 3 of them. They're just maps in different ink on different paper. One map looks particularly old, but they all pretty much reconcile the tunnel system that's been described, or the parts also that you've explored.
By any chance, could you tell me what spell scrolls I got from the Hobgoblin? I just remembered.
Sure.
I've been meaning to check.
Yes. Were you gonna like identify those? Do you have identify?
I do.
Okay.
Let me go make sure I do before I just tell you a lie. I do.
You can ritual cast that.
I can.
So I'm guessing maybe before bed last night. You probably
Maybe in the morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you cast identify a couple of times. They're both wizard spells.
Mm.
One is an uncommon magic item, the rarity.
Ooh.
It's Magic Circle is the spell that it will allow you to cast.
Okay. And the other?
And like old D&D, you don't have to be a wizard to cast that, do you?
No, I
Because
have
it's
to. I
on a
can use
scroll.
the spell, but it's a one-time use, right?
Yeah, because I think
Cool.
in the old D&D, if you weren't a wizard, you couldn't cast it. You know,
Oh,
like
wow.
a clerical spell, you had to be a cleric in order to cast. But I think in 5e,
I think in 5e you can just run spell scrolls.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But once you cast it once, it fizzles.
Yes.
The save DC on that is 15, and the attack bonus is 7. Although I don't think either of those come into play for Magic Circle. The other one
that
is
good?
a rarity, and the spell is Cloud Kill.
Oh. Nice.
DC 17 and attack bonus plus 9.
Oh my goodness.
Was there anything else that you identified?
I don't believe I had anything else to identify. If something would have been brought to me, I would have done it, but I believe this is all I took.
Okay. Very good.
Cool. Thank you.
There was the staff.
Do you have the staff or do I have the staff?
Someone has it. Biz would look very weird walking around with a 6-foot staff.
Let me check my inventory. Maybe I do have the staff.
Be like one of those walking the tightrope, like the
The tightrope
Walendas.
guy?
Yeah.
On the oh my goodness. If there is a staff to identify, I'm assuming I'm probably loot goblining it. So I probably would have it. I didn't write it down though.
Okay. So if you cast Identify on that as a quarterstaff plus 1.
Ooh.
It is enchanted.
Sure. Would anyone like this quarterstaff, by the way? It's basically a stick, but it's like easier to hit things with.
Yeah, it's balanced. It's nicely carved. You can walk and lean upon it. It's very, very strong. This one is nicely carved, and it has a metal tip on the end.
It's got a pokey side.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's not sharp, but it's harder to it pokes harder.
Sucks when it hits you in the forehead with force. Yeah.
I will take the no responses. No one wants the staff, and I will put it in my bag. For now.
Okay. Well, if there will be nothing else, make your way to the Red Rock Tavern. Kessla will be there to let you in. In fact, I think she'll have Orthrin do it. The poor dwarf is beside himself after everything and
Oh.
seems to be taking every occasion he can to make amends or make up for his poor judgment. So we have determined as a matter of law that we do not wish to file any charges against him. I think he's probably learned his lesson.
Yeah.
Very well.
I'm gonna take Orthron aside for a moment.
Uh-oh.
Just kind of grab his arm. Come here.
Okay. He's at the Red Rock, but you can certainly retcon over there and have your conversation.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were
Yeah.
going there.
Yeah, you're going there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you pull him aside somewhere out in the stables, I presume. He's kind of the stableman there, so. Yeah, what is it? Rue? Again, I'm very sorry for what I done. On account, I didn't know. Honestly, I didn't know. I just thought maybe me and Miss Larissa, we'd go down there and have ourselves a good time and all. And anyway, what is it?
I just wanted to check and see how you're doing after last night.
Well, I feel terrible, but I'm greatly relieved that Miss Larissa is going to be okay after she heals up. Eh?
What's that?
How you doing? He kind of wiggles around a little bit, pretty happy about, obviously about Miss Larissa being okay. I was thinking about maybe joining up with them Lathander priest folk. Maybe I could be some help over there, attending to the horses or something. Did you see what all that happened in there? It was amazing.
That was incredible.
Ooh. Never seen such a thing.
Good. Well, I just wanted to make sure that you were looking forward and finding ways to make amends after everything.
Well, I mean, I know they used a pretty nice, shiny gem there. I can't afford nothing like that, but I'll do all I can to repay the kindness of the priest. Who knows? Maybe someday I'll be a priest. What do you think about that?
I think
But before all that, I understand you're going back down there. Of course, I'm not going to join you by no stretch, no way, no how, no so. But when you come back, I think we'll do a big old boil pot. We'll get some crawdads out the river there, and we'll boil them up and some of that mint. Be good.
sounds good.
Just to say thank you.
Well, you hang on to that sword there, and you train up a bit and get good with it, and you'll find your opportunities to make up for what you've done.
Oh, I will, Master Rue. I'll do that. I mean, I'm pretty good with it, but yeah, I have to see what you all could do. I definitely need to learn a little bit more.
All right,
Okay.
I'll head back.
Well, you best let me know when you're back so I can get that ball going.
We will.
We'll sit and stick our feet in the river and eat crawdads till we can't stuff no more in there. Just peel them off, suck the heads off of them. Oh, eh? Good eats.
Can't wait.
He's nice.
All right,
Kessler comes in and nods and hands him the keys. Now, mind you come right back, dwarf. Yes, Miss Kessler, of course. Not going down there again. She nods. Good luck. We'll be watching for your safe return. And if we don't see you by nightfall, I'll be down to get you.
we'll be back.
She kind of pats the longsword and smiles. So you enter the tunnels again, eh?
Yeah, we do.
Here we go again.
Okay.
Round 2.
Torchlight.
I would cast light on
Penny
something.
swoops light. Light.
Oh, wait. I'll use my quarterstaff. It's like a flashlight now. It's a big one.
It's a magic quarterstaff, so it's like a buck and a quarterstaff.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not telling him that.
A buck and a quarterstaff.
Remember Daffy Duck? The buck and a quarterstaff. Okay. Great. So you hear the portcullis slam down and the lock snap behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the big oaken door that's on the other side of the portcullis slams shut, and you hear deadbolts being drawn, snapping into place, echoing down the dark tunnel as the light plays across the beautifully worked stone of the dwarves. And that is where we will wrap our session tonight. So next time you will start back into
Tunnels
the
V2. Yes.
Back into the tunnels. Nobody died. Woo!
I made it. I'm hungry.
Yeah, who wants
Scott's
cupcakes?
fault. Me.
Everybody's still alive.
We made
Even
it.
the one who was dead.
Yeah,
Dead
that's always a
ones
good
go.
thing.
Always good.
All right, let's go around. Rue, tell us a little bit about yourself there. Yeah, Andrew, where can we find you on the internets and all that stuff?
All right, yeah. My name is Andrew. Here on Twitch, I'm Fellowship of the Tables. On Twitter, I'm Fellowship OTT. And I pretty much have Discord open most of the time. So feel free to hit me up there.
Ooh, yeah, Discord. All right, Viz, Dave.
Hey, I'm Dave. Hey, Wilson on the internet. I play Viz. And I am here every Monday night with these lovely fellows and ladies. And well, lady. And on Wednesday nights as well at 7 p.m. I play with our beloved Wiley Hobbit and a whole other group of D&D aficionados as well, where I play Jacob, the halfling cleric of the Trickster domain. So join us on this, maybe this Wednesday. I think maybe next Wednesday. Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like we might be taking this week off. Gideon is getting his top surgery Wednesday morning, and so I don't think he's going to be in any condition to play D&D, and so we were thinking we might just wait around for the following week when he can play. So
That sounds wise.
yeah, so that's what we're probably going to do with Wednesday.
That's good.
All right, Ronvin, what's up?
Run, run.
Hey, I'm Viv or Vivacia. You can find me on Twitch as Vivacia. I actually managed to stream this weekend. First time in like, I don't know how long. On Twitter, I'm Miss Vivacia, I'm Ras Vivacia, and on Discord, I'm Vivacia, and I'm all over the place. On Mondays, I'm here with these lovely people. If, you know, my migraine goblins don't take over again with the big old hammers. On Wednesdays, I am at Mr. Hooper's channel where we're playing Ultramar 5. And on Fridays, I am playtesting Rupture on Pineapple Dragons channel. So far, so good. They're going to have a Kickstarter soon. So once we get there, I'll let you know. And on Saturdays, I am still playing in our second season of our Emberwind campaign. Valdrian's channel, 1:30 p.m. EST. And I think that's it for right now.
Nice, very nice.
Very good.
Nice. Excellent.
That was good.
Excellent, Smithers. Fix, what do you got going on, my dude?
I am Preston or Dice Fix and Fix in game. I've got school starting today. So,
Oh, good. Hope that
so I'm
went
gonna
well.
be. I don't know. I didn't do it. It's online, so I didn't really have anything to do.
Roger.
So I'm gonna be busy, but I'll be here. I spend a lot of my time on Twitter. I haven't posted too much dice recently, but we put something up the other day and it went, real good. Nice, pretty set.
Oh, nice.
But find me here on Mondays, and then that is all the live stream stuff I do, except for the occasional spontaneous dice stream. So
Cool. I've yet to check one of those out. I need to see that. I just want to see how you make dice because I really don't
I
know.
think I've done it twice total, so it's not like you've missed much.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you do it again, make sure you let us know so we can check it out.
I will.
Aight. And I'm your host, Wiley Hobbit, the fine proprietor of this here little happy family of D&D channel stuff. I did put a link to the Discord in there. We'd love to have you if you're not a current member of our Discord. And I do want to note that our Greycast podcast dropped another episode this morning. It's episode 4. And it's a podcast all about the original classic Gygaxian D&D setting of the world of Greyhawk. So we're just kind of working our way around various elements. This week we interviewed Scott Agnew, the fellow who put together Greyhawk Rebooted, which is a new kind of fresh bunch of content and so forth set in Greyhawk for D&D. So check that out. You can catch that on Spotify, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. The information's in chat. So but thanks everybody for hanging out. We will definitely, as far as I know anyway, won't we? Let me look at my little magic calendar. I think we will be back here next Monday, the 23rd. Yes, that is my plan, unless something befalls us. And Wednesday, just keep an eye out. We normally play Wednesdays at 7, but again, we may not be able to go this week. So just keep an eye out on that. And who knows, maybe a fun little one-shot or something may bubble up or something. Who knows? But at any rate, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It was really great to have everybody. Love to see people chatting. Love our little community, so hang out with us in Discord. We're going to raid 20 sides to every story. They're playing D&D. So get in there and yell really loud. Always like to just pass the torch and hook our viewers up with other D&D channels. So much good D&D out there. So thanks for hanging out. We will see you next Monday on Mysteries in the Dalelands.